You guys worked really hard this week. There's a lot of gold in that pan. We're going to play one hand of 5-card stud. Whoever wins this hand gets to stay up in the hotel, has supper tonight, breakfast in the morning. The rest of you get to go back and sleep at the mine. So, good luck. Okay? Ready?
Gold and silver was first discovered here in 1863 by a party of miners that came over from the Boise Basin. They discovered gold in May. By fall, there was 1,000 people, a pretty good sized town down the creek here called Ruby City. And of course they were all kind of come up the creek looking for the mother lode. About that time they discovered gold up here on War Eagle Mountain and a lot of silver in it. So it really, from about 1864, 65, Silver City's been the main town up here.
The weather in Ruby City, just a mile down the road, it's because of the geographic way the mountains are setting. The winds are just horrendous. They come down the canyons and it was blowing everybody's houses over. And they decided to move the town here, renamed it Silver City, and they decided to make Silver City the new county seat, as it were. And it actually was the new county seat until they took it off the books in the 1980s.
I think it gets in your blood, kind of be a throwback to another time that was a lot simpler. I don't think it was easier. It's kind of like a once-in-a-lifetime thing if you want to really figure out what the Old West was about. And I love to bring people up here to see the look on people's face when they can't believe that what's up here. It's kind of a shock. It's like a movie scene that's been frozen in time for 150 years.
In the early 60s, late 50s, the townspeople all got together and said, hey, you know, nothing's been built in this town for 60, 70 years. It's kind of getting to be a show place. It's a historical place. And they got the county to pass a zoning ordinance, which the residents themselves wrote, that there'd be no new building except they could approve by pictures that they had a porch on before, or a bedroom that had fell down, or a lean-to woodshed. They could rebuild that, but no new building, and nothing that had fallen completely down was to be rebuilt. You know, it's much of the town has been reconstructed, sort of, but it's just like it was at the time. We had 250 buildings. We lost probably 80% of them. We've got, well, I think they've counted 68 that are still left.
I think it's kind of cool, and I think everybody else will think it's kind of cool too. So, ready to go dig some dirt?
Go down there and shovel some dirt down there out of one of the holes. We'll dump it in this hopper. And as that goes through there, it washes the dirt, and then it goes over this screen on the end, and it goes down that tube down there. It falls on the sluice box, and as it goes over the sluice box, then it gets trapped in the sluice box. Then you take that sluice box and wash it off there in a gold pan and pan it down. If you've done well, then it gets you really excited. You have to be careful and not go getting gold fever. But it is fun.
You know, my parents always said, remember where you came from, you know, when you walked out the door. And I think that has a lot to do with our nation's problems and things now. Nobody knows where they came from and how hard it was for us to get here. So, you know, connect with your past. Go back and see who your great-grandfather was or great-great-grandfather, and and look and see where they grew up and where they died, and go visit these things and see it wasn't an easy life for them. You know, they didn't turn on a switch. They didn't turn on a faucet. They didn't go to the store. They had to make their way. And I think we've lost a lot of that and of the appreciation and humbleness and thanksgiving for all those things.
My great-grandfather came in 1864. He was actually a newcomer. He was the year after, and raised dairy cattle, sold milk, butter, and cheese and stuff into the mines, which was very lucrative in those days to get food up here. Must have been because within 10 years he bought a whole herd of beef cattle. Most every family up here's got a story similar to that. You know, they were either mining or they were up here in a mercantile business. A lot of those people that maybe were gone for a generation or two, but they come back.
We decided that we'd bring people up here either with a lottery or somehow pick people out and let them come up and have a chance to pan for gold and do it like the old timers did. And we'll play some cards to see who gets to keep all the gold for the week. And if the people win, then they get to stay in the hotel. And if not, they're going to have to go back and sleep on the ground underneath the stars. Okay, look at your cards. Farrell, I think we're going to start with you.
My husband and I came up here to go camping early 1980s and just kind of fell in love with the area. Started working on what is now the Stoddard House and just started helping other people around town. And we met Ed Jagels, at the time owned the hotel.
The guy couldn't pound a nail, couldn't run a screw, but yet he stumbled across people that would help him out. He probably hired some of the worst help you could have ever come down the street.
Ed had put almost 30 years resurrecting this building, and it was, we'll show you pictures. Pictures are worth 1,000 words. He came down with cancer. He said, you know, I've got to sell it. And I'm just going, oh. So he said, I just don't feel comfortable leaving it to somebody that's not going to continue on trying to keep it open. Mm-hmm. So he made us an offer that we just didn't feel like we could refuse. So 2 mortgages later, we the proud owners of the Idaho Hotel.
You guys are in 3, 10, 11. So room 3 is this one right here. Oh, I don't like to be on camera. This is the washroom. And if this light gets left on, preferably if somebody walks by, please turn it off and kind of patrol it. Because poles are solar. We're totally all solar. So that's how it works here. Okay, showers are in here. 1, 2, that one's upholstery. Towels and washcloths are up here. If you're too short, there's a stool. And at the very end on the far right is the restroom.
Okay. Is there any circle that you need to walk before you use it or anything?
No, it's just a flushing toilet. I think it's an RV toilet, but if you know how to use your foot pedals.
This one? Here. One night? I can sit in the car. Where is it?
This is going to be.
Oh, it's right here.
So, fire extinguishers. If there is a fire here, I suggest not using the fire escape because it ends just below that window. So you need to bail off the front end or get down the stairs. And the upstairs is definitely off because the floor is not secure up on the top floor. Okay. So no upstairs. Okay, so I'm going back down to the kitchen.
Okay, thank you. Now, if there's a fire, don't go out this.
No, do not go out the fire escape. If you look, it's just rocks at the bottom.
It stops.
I tell people owning a building that's over 150 years old is like having 150 kids. Rewards are just phenomenal. Heartbreaks are phenomenal. And expensive as hell.
So do you have like a motorized wheelbarrow to bring the dirt up, or?
Most generally, there's a backhoe here. We bring a big load up and dump it right there, and then we just shovel over this.
Well, why don't we bring the backhoe?
We should have, huh?
You're doing it wrong.
There's a wrong way to dig dirt.
No.
Oh, I was...
You got them all.
I'm glad Paul's here to do this for me. That's all I know. I hope Amy does well, Because no, seriously, you know why? Because she would never survive sleeping outside on the ground. The way I look at it, even if I lose, I'm doing her a favor. So either way, she's gonna win. I might even give her some of my gold.
I got some of the finest neighbors you'd ever want to come across. And it's interesting watching the kids. You mentioned an outhouse to a kid. Well, what's that? Well, that's where you have to go out to use the bathroom. No. They just have a real rough time with that. They can't fathom that.
We've had a few people that just, pull into town, look around, what a dump, turn around and go back. I don't think they appreciate history very well, that's all I can say. But we have far more people that come in town with their mouths open and go, had no idea anything like this ever existed.
This is my second day. I've learned that it's very dirty. And I learned that I find more gold than Farrell. I'm better at it than him. The buckets are heavy. This part I can do. I can watch the sand go down. And I'm not very good at the panning part. That be gold.
Could be gold.
Where'd you find that at?
I'm not gonna tell, but I'm gonna eat it.
Don't. That's good. You can make money off that. That ain't Goldschlager. That's makeup.
It's gold!
It's not gold. Oh, yeah, hit me with the shovel.
What have you got, big boy?
I have myself a pair of tubes.
Oh,
You can put down parrots?
yep.
You don't happen by Silver City. You have to want to come. There are other mining towns, but a lot of them have been totally commercialized. Yes, I have a business and the hotel and the place next door, but you don't see billboards for miles advertising, kind of people come and they're like, oh, it's not a ghost town, because a lot of people think it's going to be totally empty.
Not really a ghost town because we're still here. And we're not ghosts.
Everybody who comes and stays, which room has the ghost in it? And I said, well, that would be called entertainment, and I'd have to charge you extra. So if you happen to see a ghost, then hey, you're lucky. But what we have seen in the 15 plus years that we've owned it is the more people drink, the bigger the ghosts they see.
Braden, what do you got, bud? Pair of queens?
So we're up here in Silver City, Idaho, and pretty much this better pay off because I missed my girlfriend's birthday to be up here, so we gotta find some gold. Feels like it's got some gold in it. So if you kind of look around here, you can tell something big at one time was happening around here. The manpower it took to do something like this, I mean, they would have had to have block and tackles and strung up from that tree probably, and then have horses pulling and then guys with ropes guiding that kind of stuff. Farrell's done great. He's a dirt mover.
Oh, get it! It's right. Oh, give me the don't lose my gold. Oh my God!
This is Our Lady of Tears Catholic Church. It's the third location in Silver City for a Catholic church. This building we're in now started out as St. James Episcopal Church. It was built in 1898, and it was the Episcopal Church for 30 years up here. And by the late 1920s, most of the people had moved away. The Episcopalians were no longer using this building, so it was sold to the Catholic diocese, and it's been the Catholic Church up here ever since. Father Dennis Day, who's our first priest up here, said this was the church closest to heaven in the state of Idaho because we're at 6,200 feet.
The respect that they must have had for life and death, I think, just really caught me to where I realized that these people, you know, they weren't very old. Most of them were kids and teenagers and in their 30s, 40s. There was very seldom you seen anybody in their 60s and 70s. And so I think life meant a lot to them, but I think death meant a lot to them also.
You can't take nothing with you when you leave this world, so you can share it or you can keep it to yourself, and I choose to share it. You can't get anywhere and buy medicine that's 1906, still in the wrapper. So yeah, everything that's there has been there for a long while. The child's casket, that really rings home with the younger kids. They have a moment when they see that. I don't even like to think of myself as an owner, maybe a keeper.
Most everybody up here, you know, are pretty much vacationers or, retired people. There's a few of us have a legitimate purpose up here. You know, I raise cattle in the area. This is part of my summer range. And
we've been discovered now that the population down in the valley is getting so huge, and it's just a day trip from Boise. So a lot of people come up here, but they're not prepared for the bad roads. And a lot of times they'll come up in inclement weather or late in the fall or early in the spring when it's still snowy up here, and they'll get stuck. The closer you get to town, the rougher and narrower the road gets, and we get a lot of traffic. So, you know, people have to watch out for traffic, and they have to make sure they've got a full tank of gas when they come up here because there's no gas station.
It's always a good idea to give us a call before we come because sometimes we are booked up. We have 13 rooms, some with heat, some with not. And when the lights go out, it is very dark, unless the stars are shining, and then it's dark with stars. It's still dark. So I tell everybody, you know, a flashlight is always a good idea, because if you're out walking around and it's daylight and you get a mile or two from town, all of a sudden sun goes behind those mountains, it doesn't take very long for it to get dark.
History is, I love it, and that's what's held me here probably the best. As far as I know, it's as honest as it gets.
We raise a Hereford Simmental cross of cattle, and they're kind of unique because the way we bred them up in the genetics, and it's a special breed for this type of conditions. Their legs are shorter on one side than they are on the other, so they can go around the hillsides.
Okay, you guys, I'm really sorry.
A pair of kings.
Ooh. Sorry.
So far, looks like Amy's gonna win.
Told you.
Okay,
Unless
Paul.
you have
Two
aces.
pair of aces.
Oh, of course you do.
Look at that.
Looks like the older gentleman wins, so he's gonna be able to sleep in a bed tonight, and you guys get to go back and stay down at the mine.
Wisdom always wins.
I am so proud of you. However, I was really nice to you today. I brought my own blanket and pillow.
All right.
We'll talk later.
We appreciate your efforts. Thanks for coming up.
I just want a picture of you guys filming me, basically, for right now, so that I have something to show everybody for Facebook, pretty much, so people remember that I'm cool.